Hey, Dave.
Hey, what's up?
I just got a brand new set of headphones. I'm super stoked.
Oh, yeah? Who makes them?
Studio.
Oh, like Phil Collins?
Yeah, like the song Susu Studio.
Wow, he makes great headphones, huh?
Well, the company makes great headphones. I got the Regent, which is their premium on-air model. It's got impeccable clarity and a really balanced sound. And it's Bluetooth, but it also comes with an auxiliary cord, so if I feel like having a cord, I can. You know what else is awesome about these headphones? They have 24 hours of active battery life and 20 days of standby life, so they're great for home or on the go.
So, like, you don't have to plug them in?
Right. Like, you can actually use them for, like, 24 hours.
So, how can we get them?
So, you can actually go to studio.com/US, and they've got free worldwide shipping. But they're so awesome that they're giving our listeners a discount code, Blamestorming, which will get you 15% off of these awesome headphones.
Well, these look like really cool headphones, and if I don't lose these, this was a very good investment.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to lose them. I mean, they're so functional and stylish, and they're made in Sweden, Dave.
Oh, they're Swedes.
Yes, they're Swedes.
I did not know
Scandinavian
I
design.
had no idea Phil Collins was Swedish.
Well, if he were Swedish, he would definitely be as awesome as a pair of studio headphones.
Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey guys, welcome to Blamestorming.
Hi.
I've got an impatient Dave Cyrus with me.
That was a ridiculously long song. We're going to cut that, right?
Well, the reason why I did it long, and I'm Marissa Smith because I can't even introduce myself. So the reason why I did the long version is because, like, the short version, everyone is still talking. So I kind of wanted to have, like, a moment of settling down. It's kind of like the quiet share.
Okay, well, I am dead set against that. That was...
Well,
it's pretty funny.
I would have turned it off.
It's pretty funny just to hear just someone go, is this the version? This seems really long.
I mean,
funny.
At some point I felt like if I didn't say it, the audience was going to say it and hang up. I got really antsy about how long that was going for. I'm sorry. Once Nigel stops talking, I feel like we should start, the show.
Yeah, but we were doing that. It wasn't working because people were talking through the short version. So I just felt like people needed to have some time to reflect and be quiet for like 2 seconds so then we could kick off the show. But we're going to kick off the show now if that's okay, Dave.
Yeah.
All right.
Why don't you play a new song?
Yeah, we're gonna do another intro song. But
to give Dave time to quiet down.
Yeah.
I mean,
because someone needs settling.
I was the only one who was listening to the song, like really listening.
That's true.
And it's a very long, repetitive song. I'm sorry. I know.
Can I bring our guests on?
I guess.
Are you gonna be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got Walker Hayes with us.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
And I've got Rannon Hirschberg with me.
She gave out one of the options.
It's like I'm so busy arguing with Dave, like a completely fucked up thing. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Ranan.
Ranan.
The way you said it sounded like one. Do you all remember the ET ride at Universal?
Yes.
Remember they would type in everyone's name?
Yeah.
And at the end, so my whole family has normal names, and we would go through it, and at the end, ET would be like, this is what he did. He said, bye, Ben. Bye, Rachel. Bye, Renan. And that's kind of how you said it. You said it like ET.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's okay, too.
That was a great ride for kids whose parents wanted to screw with them and not tell them in advance that they were putting their name in.
I really thought you were going to say that was a great ET impression. And
it was that, too.
It was a little bit of both.
If this whole thing just became an argument about the opening intro, it would be the greatest podcast episode of all time. It just kept on going.
I'm open to that. I'm open to that because, the guy's got a great voice and everything, but...
You don't like Nigel anyway.
Yeah, I just feel...
You mockingly named him Nigel. We have no idea what his name is.
That's not mocking. He clearly sounds like his name is Nigel.
You really do blame people on this podcast.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
In keeping with
Yeah.
You started blaming right away.
You mean like blaming me for the fact you can't remember a name from 2 minutes ago?
We're blaming you that you can't be quiet for
The
like
snake is
45
eating
seconds.
its tail.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, anyway.
Speaking of snakes, so Walker, did you hear?
Thank you for the intro.
Did you hear about DJ Khaled or
Jesus Christ, Marissa.
I'm fucking whatever his name is.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
By the way, for someone with an inexplicable Y in your name, you should be more respectful of how people pronounce their weird names.
Yeah, but my last name is Smith, so like you can't get more common than that.
Is it Khalid?
Yeah, Khaled.
DJ
It's Khaled.
Khalid?
Khaled. Well, it's
Yeah,
Khaled. It's
Khaled.
the name
I've
is
never heard him say it really long and
Khaled would be
I've
what the
never-
name.
I don't know.
normally
I
be.
actually didn't know who he was.
He says his name so many times.
He does.
I don't even think I've ever heard one of his songs.
I don't know
He
who
doesn't
he
have
is.
songs. He appears on everybody else's songs.
He
This
just yells his name.
I was very taken aback by this whole. I didn't know who he was or what eating pussy was. I didn't know any of it.
Oh.
No, I'm joking.
Here's the thing about
I've heard
DJ
You
Khaled.
spend way too much time with ET, apparently.
He's mostly famous for being stupid.
Yeah, right.
we're
Well, now he's
forgetting
famous
that.
for being a weight loss ambassador, so don't deprive him of that.
It's like finding out that like Honey Boo Boo didn't go to college.
this is like
isn't-
Kanye. It's like he was already kind of. It's not a surprise what happened.
At least Kanye is objectively talented.
Right, right.
But also, DJ Khaled is not. He's not crazy. He's just not a bright guy. He's the guy who's known for his catchphrases. They don't want you to, because he's like one of those conspiracy people who doesn't really think things through.
yeah.
He
But it
just
doesn't
like
matter.
says stuff.
But this was an old interview, right?
I think it's from like 2015.
Really?
Oh, that's not that old.
Wait, then why is it big now?
It's like huge over the
Yeah, I
last
don't know
few
why
days.
he
I just
blew
heard
up.
about
Wait,
it.
did Hannibal Buress just bring this up on his show or something? Like suddenly
Yeah.
caring that DJ Khaled doesn't
By
eat
the
pussy?
way, I
Yeah.
believe the Me Too thing will come full circle when Hannibal Buress goes down. I think that's how it's going to happen.
Oh,
We are terrible with
There you
names
go.
today.
Hannibal Buress.
Is
what?
that
What
the
is it?
theme
How
of
do you
today's
pronounce it?
show?
Horrible with names.
Hannibal what? How do you pronounce the
Buress.
You can just call me
Burris.
Wackler then.
What did I
That'll
say?
be fine.
Barris?
Buress?
I think you said breasts.
Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal- But yeah, DJ Khaled said he doesn't. And here's the thing: you're not a monster if you don't eat pussy, unless you expect it back.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Hey, everyone in the right has everyone has the right to not want to eat anything they don't want. It's
Right.
just this weird thing where he's like, "I'm the king." Sorry, I heard that too. Are we okay? Something happening? Is that everyone's phone off?
Yeah.
Let's mark that
I'm on-
because
yeah, I'm on
we're
airplane.
hearing a lot of static. Okay, sorry guys. So yeah, everyone has the right to eat or not eat whatever they want. But he had the whole thing of like, well, I'm the king, so my wife has to do this, which I'm sure she loved to hear.
Oh boy! So you can only say you can't eat pussy if you're like, and I don't like getting blown. You have to not like both sides of it.
Oh no, you can be ambivalent
No,
about
you could
getting
just
blown.
not reference either thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You can also not
You
eat
just-
pussy in
yeah.
private.
Yeah, you could just be that douchey guy that like pulls
Or
a
just
fast
say
one
I
once
don't
you get
eat
a girl
pussy,
naked.
but
Yeah.
not say like I don't eat pussy, but my wife has to go down on me because I'm the king and men need praise.
There's a lot of layers of douchey to
Yeah,
what he did.
right,
Not only
exactly.
did he do the behavior that's douchey, he bragged about it on
Right.
the radio. So
Right.
it's a lot of layers of being a prick.
Right. Like if you tell a girl you're dating, be like, listen, I have a thing with going down on you. I'm not expecting you to do it to me. I apologize. It's not something I want to do. It's disappointing, but you're not like a dick the way
Yeah,
that like
I guess that's right.
if it's just a thing you have, whatever. Or, you know, or it's just your way of telling that girl there's something wrong with yours, so I don't want to do this.
But that's okay. So yeah, if we can like just get into the issue, the root of the issue, I think, is exactly that. Like, it's such an expectation of women. It's absolutely an expectation of women 90% of the time.
What's
I've completely
expectation?
made that
to blow.
that statistic.
That girls are expected to
If
blow,
you're, like,
guys.
hanging-
I've never heard it to blow.
Yeah,
To blow or not
put
to
her
blow?
mouth
That
on
is the
your
question.
good parts.
I'm trying to keep this pussy eating talk classy.
To blow or not to blow?
But it's not like I've said this many a time on stage. Like, it's not I don't think most girls, if you go out with a guy a couple times, I don't have the immediate expectation of the guy, and that I think is the fucked upness of it. Is like the guy for sure. Not all of y'all, but in general, I think guys expect a girl to give them oral sex, and girls are like, okay, it'd be nice if I got that in return, but it's not an expectation.
See, now for me, I feel like I'm not going to blow someone that does not go down on me. Like, I just don't do it because I feel like
you wait for the guy to do it first.
Yeah, and if he doesn't do it,
good on
then
you. I
don't do it.
I don't, but like, there is something in my head that goes, I will kick us off, and then I hope there's a reciprocation, and a lot of times there's not. And I think it's insane. Like, it's just weird to me. You're a heterosexual person who doesn't do every single thing possible to get the other person off.
But he's coming from such an outdated like machismo. It's like outdated for nowadays. Like now it's like everyone likes to go down to eat pussy. Like it's
not even if you like it. Like you have failed.
But he's like
if
Sopranos.
the partner leaves the equation.
I was going to say, it's like
Sopranos.
in The Sopranos, they called it gay to eat pussy.
He's a whole level of machismo that's not even like current level of machismo.
He's not even in his 40s.
I'm not. Oh my God, he looks terrible,
isn't he? I thought DJ Khaled was in his 30s.
By the way, what's interesting about The Sopranos, and I'm not. This isn't a criticism. This is obviously an intentional choice of how the same mafia guys who call you gay for eating pussy also say, I mean, if you're in prison for 5 years, it makes sense you want to fuck a guy.
Well, they got the mafioso got they have a lot of issues because they're very homophobic, but they also kiss each other on the lips.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's why they're like, that guy's gay. I kissed him on the lips, but they have a lot of their own things going on. They're not very woke.
Hey.
The fictional mafia.
We don't want the mafia coming after us for now.
I mean, are there any Italians in this room?
Big mafia fan base.
We're in New York City. The mafia is very powerful.
You know what they call eating pussy on Sopranos in that episode?
What?
Eating sushi. It's such
yeah, it was.
What are you doing eating sushi? That's what he says to
the grossest, stupidest thing. Like the very idea of criticizing someone for liking eating pussy. No, because the Khaled thing, it's like a man who eats pussy is subservient to his woman.
That's so outrageous to me. And then you have Lil Wayne, who's like a superstar, and that's all he ever talks about is how much he loves eating pussy.
That's what I'm saying. The broiest dudes now talk about eating pussy. It's not like...
But just don't talk about it if it's not your thing. Like, he made it a point to make that statement.
See, when I saw DJ Khaled's picture, I assumed he was born in the early 50s. He just looks...
Before
a man like that should absolutely be
swear
eating
to God,
pussy. He should be doing anything possible to get a chick at all. Is he crazy?
But he also looks like he'd be winded if he was doing
Am
it.
I older than DJ Khaled? This is disturbing.
It's a real existential moment.
Has that? I mean,
I think he was.
Let me ask.
That should really be his crisis.
Well, let me ask
you.
Do you have a disdain for eating pussy as a?
No, I don't have a problem with it, but I will admit I do it. I'm not like a guy who's like, oh, I got to eat that pussy. I do it because it's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm doing it because, one, I want her to blow me also, and two, because it's the appropriate thing to do sexually. Of
course, yes.
I don't dislike it. It's just like, if my, like a lot of guys, if my penis isn't involved, it's essentially an intermission. And I'm just being like, well, this is just like everything else you do. You open doors, you open, you walk someone home, you buy dinner, you eat pussy. It's called a little class.
I mean, I love it. I don't think I've ever, I'm not trying to be.
But you also have a lot of facial hair, so that's fun.
I'm not, it's You're very much too pussy.
It would really be rude of you to not, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be like sound noble, but I don't think I've ever gotten blown without eating pussy first.
That's amazing.
I feel like that's the order. Yeah, but I try to, I mean, I always feel very grateful. And I always try to bring a lot to the table because I don't think I have a lot to offer. So I try to like.
Okay, but I'm not.
I also want to make
true for you, but so true for DJ Khaled. Take the money out of the equation. Who the fuck is blowing that guy?
I also want to make sure that I've pleased them before we have sex and when I come immediately. So I want to make sure.
Set the proper
because
stage.
If you have sex for the first time and it's not too long, if it's not a long sex thing. But if you've pleased them already, you don't feel as bad.
That's probably No,
so that's what I tell the kids. Make them come, and then you won't feel as bad when you come quickly.
Yeah. See, my thing was like the first girl I ever went down on. It was a bad experience, so I just thought that's what it was like. And then of course you date like normal women. You're like, oh, okay, this is fine. This is good. But it is one of those things where like you you're doing it kind of for selfish reasons. Usually,
everything is selfish.
You want her to either like it's because you want her to like you want her to do it again, or you want her to blow you.
But also making someone,
unless you're really into it, which is good.
But also making someone come is still something that makes you feel.
I was gonna say, don't you
feel
have
good?
any pride?
But that's like,
don't these people have any pride?
But that's why I find it weird that he said that, because it's narcissistic.
It's
to
difficult
please
to make
someone
a woman
else.
come just by shoving your dick in and out of her alone. It's
Yeah.
difficult. It's not impossible, but the odds of it are much lower than
I
if you
thought
do
it was
other
impossible.
stuff.
That's really what was
It's
keeping.
not impossible,
That's what was really
but-
keeping me going this whole time.
It's not impossible, but the odds are much lower.
Every woman
So
has
you
told me
should
it's
want
impossible.
You should want to do every single thing, otherwise you have failed.
But that's not, and that's not like being heroic. That's like your typical narcissistic, I want to please them.
But also, I just don't understand being with a person that you don't want to explore and do everything with. And I get it. Like, sometimes you have one-night stands or
Well, he's
whatever.
clearly
you
gay.
go home with someone and you're less into them once you're in the middle. I get that. But even still, like, this is a person that has flatly said across the board, I don't do it. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter where we're at in the relationship or anything to do with you. This is my policy, and that's insane.
Yeah.
As a heterosexual man, that is fucking insane.
But so many machismo guys do that. Like, there's that story of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you ever hear the story where they?
Or he dated a skeleton and then married her and then fucked a maid who was obese and insane.
So what?
Hey, she wasn't obese. She was just very unattractive.
Yes. Okay.
She
My
wasn't
bad.
fat.
I'm
She was
using the
just-
wrong
yeah.
adjectives.
You're shaming her for the wrong thing. One time they walked in on, this is a story, they walked in on him in a trailer and he's eating out a woman. He was married at the time. And he turned to the person who walked in and goes, "Eating is not cheating."
Oh, that's hilarious.
You think, how do you
That's
feel
a
about that
phrase.
impression?
I've heard that phrase.
Is
so
that better
many
than my
times.
ET impression?
Yes, I thought that was your ET impression. And no, it's one of like I've been in relationships. You know what it is? It's not-
ET phone home.
I mean, just the fact that he bothered to say that to whatever intern knocked on the door.
It's so sleazy,
It's
right?
just despicable. He is such a gross.
That's my
man.
point. I'm saying he's such a machismo guy and he's still eating pussy.
No, good for him. And it's
Because
that does
in what
speak a little
world
well.
does that make
When do
you
you
less
think?
manly?
When do you think?
It is weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to disassociate from masculinity. It's the female body, and if anything, that's the ultimate manly thing to do.
That's what I'm saying. He's broy from a whole different period.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
like he seemed to like kind of say that he felt like because he was like keeping it like down at home because he was making so much money that was the reason why he didn't need to do it.
Which is true at this point.
At this point, so I wonder if like when he was broke he ate pussy, and now that he's rich now he feels like he doesn't have to do it because like she's in.
Am I just eating pussy because I'm broke? Will that change when I make some money?
I mean, it's a question because like what I
don't get it. I don't get not enjoying. I don't get it. But that's,
I
guess
read
it's
the
brain.
article and he was just like, well, the man is king and he needs to be praised, and the woman is queen and she needs to be praised. And if you're keeping it like locked down at home, then like, you have to do it whatever way you can. I'm keeping it locked down because do you like this house that you're living in? Do you like these clothes that you have? I'm taking care of your family. I'm taking care of my family. So I think for him, not eating pussy is like reaching like an economic elite status that he no longer needs to eat pussy.
That's essentially the same argument as saying I don't let my wife come because I pay the bills.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
garbage.
Even
Sorry.
if he didn't go
But I
down on
think-
her, he's like, I make sure that I don't let her enjoy the sex at all because
Right.
that sends the wrong message.
Like, what an idiot! That's so. I don't
Well, it's very Handmaid's Tale.
It's so grimy. Wouldn't you want? Okay, just across the board in anything that you do, wouldn't you not want to feel like the praise is coming from a place that's like intrinsic to you? Money isn't intrinsic to that person.
well, I mean, he's clearly a moron.
He also might have just completely resigned himself to the idea that no one could actually enjoy sex with him.
I can't even fathom that.
That could be. It could just be the idea that he doesn't. He looks at her. That sex is a transaction for him, and when a guy looks like that can happen. Especially when he just decides, well, I need to make money because that
What does he look like? Is he not attractive?
No.
He
No.
looks like. Well, how do I put this?
He looks like
Come on,
if
roast
all
man.
the characters
Come
in
on.
Aladdin swallowed Aladdin. He's grimy as fuck.
He looks like.
I mean, that's not like a big picture. of
That's
him.
actually a very good photo of
yeah.
him.
That's like
He
that's
looks
a
like
decent
Saddam
photo,
on Halloween.
Yeah. It looks like he looks like a fat Is he?
Oh, he's a fat guy.
Yeah,
he's a
really,
fat, gross guy.
I don't
Wait,
know his background. Is he Muslim? I don't know what he is.
Yeah,
It was
I
DJ
don't
Khaled. Yeah, he's some kind of
right.
Middle Eastern. I forget what.
he looks like some fat Muslim dude from movies. Who is it? Like one of the
guy from
Indiana Jones
yeah.
sidekicks or something.
Well, he looks a little bit like the guy who gets in a fight with Borat.
Oh yeah. One of the hardest I've ever.
Only
laughed
that
when
guy
they walk out naked.
That guy probably loves pussy.
Does Indiana Jones have a fat Muslim sidekick in each one of those movies?
I think it was the same dude.
The guy in the fez.
Yeah.
The guy who wears the fez, right?
Oh, he's the old fat Muslim sidekick in your adventure story. That's a fun trope.
The unfortunate thing is he probably isn't Muslim. It was probably some Italian guy playing a Muslim because it was the 80s.
Yeah.
And pretty much every brown person was played by a Sicilian.
Yeah. Apu was the only Indian character on TV at that time back in the day. Someone told me that the other day.
I think he still is. I mean, after Parks and Rec went off the air, I'm pretty sure we went back to zero.
No, there's an Indian show, right?
No,
Isn't he from South Carolina?
There's Silicon Valley. Well, not Indian.
From. Where he's from.
There's Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
He's on TV.
Well, he's
Pakistani.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say Indian. I mean Middle East. I was saying Middle Eastern.
He means
in general.
something that's not Mexican.
Oh, did you say Indian? I was thinking.
You're being too
I'm sorry.
specific.
I thought we were saying anyway.
I
Big Bang
meant
Theory.
I definitely meant both.
I don't acknowledge Big Bang Theory's existence, but
Cooper Polly is Indian.
I think the Apu thing, I think it would be way more offensive if that was the only voice he did. It was just a white guy doing one
He
voice.
is doing hundreds of voices. Now, here's the funny thing about the Apu thing that is interesting. It reminds me of Rugrats. Do you know that
I love Rugrats.
Do you remember when Rugrats, there was a controversy about the Jewish grandparents that they thought were too stereotypically Jewish? And as a Jew, and I think Renan will back me up on this, they weren't even Jewish enough to pass as Jewish
that's
grandparents.
I mean, my mom is.
I don't remember
my mom
feeling
is
that
literally.
way, but I wouldn't have noticed.
My mom
probably.
is an offensive Jewish stereotype.
Right.
She literally is. If you put her in a play, just being herself, people would get offended. That's what she is.
And you know what
She's
they
an
did?
Anti-Semitic portrayal of a Jew.
Yeah. In order to appease people who were offended by the Jewish stereotypes, they ethnically cleansed the show.
Right.
Yeah. And then you're left with
They
like
cleansed-
shells of
It
characters.
is a weird
They
thing.
cleansed them of the characters.
You're having Jews going, they're too Jewy.
All right, they're dead.
So did they de-Jew them?
No, they just got rid of the characters.
Oh, they got rid of them?
They just stopped having the characters on the show.
Is there an episode where they go to a
I don't know if
concentration
they brought
camp?
them. I don't know if they brought them back eventually, but I remember at the time that they said the compromise is okay. They're no longer on
So
the
who's
show.
Jewish? A main kid?
I believe. Yeah, their grandparents. I guess I don't. Chucky, was it Chucky's grandparents?
Is Chucky the red hair one?
Chucky's the redhead. I didn't remember that.
No, Chucky's not. We
It's
always
not-
think he's the redhead because the Chucky doll is red. But I think
Tommy's
the redhead.
No,
No,
Tommy's the baby.
bald baby.
Tommy's the bald baby.
Well, I think
Chucky's the redhead.
Well, then
Yeah.
Tommy's the main character.
Yeah, I think Tommy's grandparents.
Tommy's the main character.
Okay.
And then you have
you're asking
Manchester-
if they're Jewish? What was Tommy's last name again?
What was it? I don't know.
Pickles. He was Jewish.
Oh, well. That's a little
funny,
stereotypical.
I haven't
Did you ever?
retained-
Well, speaking of
retained
stereotypical, it's in
Tommy
terms of
Pickles.
does this offend you? Did you ever see How High,
How high?
I didn't see
the
how
Method
high.
Man Redman movie?
I mean, I've seen parts
yeah.
of
Do
it.
you know what the
think years
villain,
ago.
the white kid villain's name in the movie?
Is it Jewy
is-
McJew?
Jeremy Picklestein.
Oh,
Which
really?
is, even I was, as a comic, I was even like, wow.
But then you got to look up.
the balls.
But here's the thing: you got to look up. Was it Jew writers? Might have been.
I hope
Probably.
so. It goddamn better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a comedy that was made. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, Picklestein. That's pretty funny.
But yeah.
But
we can go back to pussy if you want.
I just wanted it known that if you are not taking care of the other person in the equation, you have failed. I don't care how
not
big
a-
your dick is. It's not a present to us. You have to do other things
I'll
besides
say this:
that.
I've dated girls where that was part of the routine. They always had oral sex first, and then you had sex. But I've also dated girls who you kind of get to a point where like you both skip it. You go where you're
Sure.
We just always
Just
get
can't-
it.
I
You're
think it's
dating
weird to have
girls.
a
We get it.
policy
Yeah.
where you don't do it. That actually happened
Yeah.
to me over the summer. I was dating someone for like a month. I went down on him all the time, and then at one point I was like, "Hey, I just curious about this," and he was like, "Oh, I don't do that."
well, now we know
And I was
why you're
like,
bringing this all
"So
up.
gay? Is that what that is? Like, you're
so that's
not
why
into
you're-
women?"
That's why you're so bad.
Well, not for nothing, but like again, like this is a man in his 30s. What?
The guy you're dating.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's who you really want to talk about. Let's
No,
talk
no,
about
no.
him.
He's
was
not.
he, well,
He's
let me
not
ask you
like
this.
the lone
Was
wolf.
he
I've had
also
this happen multiple
was he
times
also a
with people.
DJ? Because maybe it's a DJ thing.
I don't believe so, but I can't say.
You didn't know what he did?
I can't say I cared that much at that point. Well, he hadn't eaten my box in a month. Yeah, I stopped asking questions.
You didn't know what job he
Stopped wanting to know anything.
It's funny because it's one thing to just kind of like be selfish and just be like, and not do it. But to not do it when you're asked is an aggressive act.
It wasn't even that I asked. I posed it as like just curious because the sex wasn't even that good. I was just sort of locked in the loop of hanging out with this person.
Like, of course it wasn't good.
I mean, sex, and I'm sure you've fucked a guy where it's like, oh, the guy is good at it, but there needs to be more foreplay. This wasn't that. This was lack of foreplay, and the sex part was also not good.
Who has sex before going down? That seems weird. You got to go down.
No. You're misunderstanding. Uh-oh. There's it's fine if you're not doing oral first. That's fine. That's not a given. But you can do other things, and you can do things while you're fucking.
Was he not doing anything?
No, he was doing nothing.
He didn't even.
He's just lazy.
Wait, he put his penis in your unaroused vagina?
Yes.
Oh god.
Right. In your 30s. In your 30s.
How does that even work?
In your 30s. Who has given you no feedback by the time you're in your 30s?
And I'll say, when I said the thing about us jumping ahead, I wasn't that bad. I'm talking about like when we are both.
Yeah, no, and don't misunderstand. I'm not saying you have to. You can get so hyped that you just want to fuck. 100%.
Were you? I mean, I don't want to get personal, but wasn't it like dry? Weren't you dry?
No, but I like fucking. Like the idea of fucking is arousing.
Right. I mean,
but then, to fuck a person that has done nothing and then is not good at fucking is the biggest letdown ever.
Yeah,
like it's terrible.
How long did you stay in this abusive relationship?
About 30 days.
No, like. I don't know. I've had sex with guys that didn't go down, but I didn't go down on him. But like the one thing I thought was weird, I had one guy that wanted to have sex that didn't want to kiss, and I don't do that.
Oh,
it's
that's
just
bizarre.
Yeah, he's just like I didn't have sex with him, but Lazar's just like, dude, like you can't kiss.
That's weird.
Like,
well,
but he would go down. But like
this has become the Howard Stern show.
That's not the same.
Jewish guy, black woman, talking about sex.
I have had sex without kissing when like one of us had a cold, which is, I don't know if that's stupid.
I don't think I could do that.
That's different.
I have done that.
This was like he said he didn't like kissing because he said that he was almost like phobic about it because he was like afraid people were gonna bite him. Like,
okay, you did the right thing.
This guy was white, right?
Of course.
And did he say this to all women or just you?
I'm afraid
I've seen
getting bitten.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you date a lot of racist white guys, right? Don't you have a bit about that?
I don't know. They just seem to flock to me. But then I don't know. I just feel like I date a lot of like weird guys. I don't know. But yeah, definitely.
Yes, given the previous statement, you definitely
I've dated a lot of weird guys.
That?
So we never had sex, but like we'd fool around. But like he would go down, but he wouldn't kiss me.
Because he's in charge.
Between all of our experiences, we can have one good sexual experience.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really hard. This city is so full of people that are bad at sex. Just flatly bad at it.
I've only had I'm not complaining.
And to be fair, Walker's had a healthy cross-section of men in this city, so she can speak.
Not just men. Women are terrible at it too. Yep. Lots of people in this city are bad at sex.
And I'm not complaining, but the only situation I've ever had where I've gone down on a woman and she hasn't blown me, and I'm not complaining, but that's the only experience I've had. I've never, I'm not. I guess I am complaining.
Oh, I've done that. Oh no, and I've done that too. I've had plenty of times where.
But that's like acceptable. You can't be like, well, you have to blow me now.
No. If I go down on a girl, if it's new, I mean, if it's like you haven't had sex before, and I go down on a girl and she doesn't blow me, that's essentially like, that's like a lottery. That's like a lottery ticket. It's like it costs you $1. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't hurt.
I enjoy you don't like because it arouses me.
Well,
it arouses me.
David, I don't think you like
going
down on women. I think you see it as a chore.
Not a chore. I see it as an obligation.
You don't like it?
No. I like it if I like the girl. I don't necessarily do it if it's like a one night thing.
Really?
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
I love it.
When I've been in when I'm in relationships, it's regular. But yeah, I guess if it's like new, I don't expect to get blown either. I certainly don't like say no to it. But yeah, no, it's not something I do with every girl. Yeah, it's something I do with any girl I want to like me.
I don't know.
Well, there's bad ways to do it for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
There are guys that are so bad at it that you're like, oh my god, let's
like
just
stop
immediately.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, but
100%.
I don't know, and I feel like I definitely don't always reciprocate, but I feel like if if I want to have sex, I won't. If he's going down to me first, and then like I want to have sex, like then you have to like wait, and I don't want to like wait that whole like if you're going down on him and then like he comes and then you're just like it's like waiting period. Like I just want to,
the waiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm when I do it.
Wait, hold on, back up a second. If you're like just blowing a guy to completion, he should absolutely reciprocate on you.
No, I'm saying like he's like I'm first. I won't reciprocate on him so we can get to the sex because I don't feel like waiting for him to like if I blow him after and then he comes and then we have to wait and then have sex. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I would just trade oral for oral at that point. What's
but
the point of the sex?
Well, that's only if I'm not, if I don't want to have sex with him, then then I would reciprocate oral for oral.
And these guys are racist. Right? Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Not all of them.
See, that's the thing. What you're saying is that, like, if for me, I do it for women for the reason that I, as a kid, thought women only did it, which is just because I want them to like me.
Uh-huh.
And for me, it was always like a utilitarian thing. Like, I want the sex to be better. I want to be good at sex, so that's what you do. But you're right.
You sound very romantic.
It's not something I do. It's not something I would do if it was the only thing that we could do.
Have you ever said, "Can I eat you out"? I think it's the utilitarian thing to do right now. Have you ever said that?
No, I imply it. It's implied by
that's
the
actually
way I
a good
do it.
question, though. So did you not do this at all in your younger days? You didn't do this until
Oh,
you
I
were an
did it.
adult and had a sense of guilt?
I did it as long as I was sexually active.
Oh, okay.
Which was starting when I was like 20. So yes.
There we go. Okay.
But I went down on girls before that. Like I said, the first time went badly. So then I didn't do it again for
It went badly when you went down?
Yes.
How did it go badly?
Because she was irresponsible.
Okay.
Period?
That's a hygiene thing.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a
Well,
hygiene.
hygiene is important.
So I had
for sure.
I had a bad experience the first time, and then I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, that was just her.
She didn't tell you she was on her period.
No, it wasn't that issue. It wasn't that.
Oh, it was just smelly.
A little. She had bad.
Can you phrase anything gross in your ET voice, please, from this point on, to make it more palatable? No pun intended.
I think my ET voice is getting better. I don't understand. What are you saying? What was it?
I'm saying the first girl. What Walker said. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great hygiene situation.
It just smelled bad.
Yes. That was That was one of the symptoms of it. Yes.
Symptoms of
her. Yes. Of
Lack of hygiene.
Yeah.
To circle back.
I'm trying to be clear that like it wasn't that I was reacting to the way they normally smell because I've been with other women and I've never had a woman be like that first girl before.
Yeah, that's rough.
So
okay. There's that.
I've never had like I don't know. Maybe I don't have a strong sense of smell, but I've never had a vagina that.
Well, I think we figured out why you love it so much.
Yeah, that's right.
Lucky bastard.
It's like, damn it, why don't I have allergies?
Yeah, I've never had a vagina where I'm like, this smells bad.
Oh yeah, God bless you.
I guess I do have a bad sense of smell. I don't know.
Of all the 1.5 vaginas you've been with, only
Right, they were both delicious.
Wait, what's the half?
Excellent. Just the tip.
probably was.
So now, did you guys hear that Spotify is removing R. Kelly's music from their streaming?
Yes, because of racism.
Well, they're saying it goes against their hateful conduct policy.
But have they removed like Michael Jackson?
No.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I didn't. So the only question I have, because it's not that they're removing them. Like, you can still play these artists. They're not being featured and they're not being suggested. So you could still get on Spotify and
like
listen
what
to
they
R.
do with
Kelly.
Louis.
Let me be clear.
Louis on Netflix.
Nothing R. Kelly did was hateful. It was just
he only
grossly
peed on people
irresponsible.
and found
I'm
it
sure
fun.
he enjoyed
Well,
it.
he didn't do it because he hated them.
He did it because he loved it.
He did it because he's a pervert.
He did it because he's a deeply
I'm going to sound really honest.
Yes.
What did he do again?
He pissed on a kid.
But she was underage.
Well, that, and then he
Allegedly-
also started a sex cult.
He allegedly definitely pissed on that kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
He pissed on an underage
And
person.
now it's because he had what is an alleged sex cult, which, like other cults, the question becomes, what constitutes being forced? If you're allowed to leave, but you're being, quote, brainwashed, can we tell someone that they're committing a crime?
But how old was the kid?
Well, the brainwash...
Not like, but like... Is
the
there,
P-
Now we're
kid?
talking about adults.
Yeah.
We're talking about adults
Okay.
in the sex slavery
the
thing.
sex slavery,
But the
some
girl,
underage, I think, too,
that
though.
girl was
I think
supposed to be 14.
14 or 15.
and he didn't have
yeah.
sex with her.
And I never saw the video, but I was told she looked like a child.
Child, yeah.
And he peed on her But he didn't have sex with her?
I think we shouldn't assume that because it wasn't on tape, he didn't have sex with her.
There's no footage.
Because if I'm peeing on a girl, we've probably had sex. No, I've never peed.
Well, no, before.
I love that you just assume that that's the foreplay for him, and maybe it totally is.
I don't get to peeing until I've,
No, well, a woman's body is like a foot.
He's like, well, if he peed on her, I mean,
Well,
clearly.
like
that's just the preamble.
It's to it's to sanitize her because it's like a jellyfish. You want to.
Well, it's like, you know, girls on porn will be like, I've never done anal before, and it's like, I feel like you probably would have get to anal before porn, don't you think?
You would hope so.
I feel like anal comes before porn.
I don't
know. What I mean?
Anal's a scary thing to me.
More than porn?
I mean, if given the choice, I'd have to think about it.
Oh, really?
Anal sounds really terrifying.
What about the girls who are like, I've never had sex before? Clearly, you get to sex before porn.
I would think so. I would agree with that.
They're lying.
Those are lies. Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But then there was the girl that raffled off her virginity for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Wait, that's just an episode of Little Big Lies. Is that really happened?
That
A lot
really
of women,
happened.
A lot of
happened,
women have
yeah.
done that. Yeah.
Yeah, that really. I mean, I remember hearing about it. At least the girl was 19, and she was from
England. She was British.
Was she British?
Well,
Okay.
one of the stories. There's a lot of these. Yeah.
But with R.
Yeah.
Kelly, it's not bad that he peed on someone. It's bad that he was with an underage woman.
Correct.
Right.
It's bad all around, but
But
yeah.
if it was an adult, it wouldn't be bad.
No,
Yeah.
if a girl
If
wants you
it's
to pee on
consensual.
her,
If it was an adult, it would just be creepy.
Right.
But
Well, we should, hey, that's kink shaming.
But also, he
I'll
did say that he
shame it all day.
and
Like,
R.
Yeah.
Kelly did
gross.
say
Golden
he
showers.
doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't let women pee on him because he's the king.
That's right.
Exactly. You had to praise him.
But yeah, people left. Basically, it sounded like one of those things where, like Scientology, it's like if they want to live in a prison that they agreed to go into, at what point can we really say you're not allowed to agree to this?
Yeah, of course. Anyone who goes into Scientology is a moron from the beginning. So, no offense.
Yeah, like I dated a girl in
No offense
Scientology.
to anyone that isn't a Scientologist.
The Scientologist I dated was raised Scientology.
Yeah.
Except
Which-
for that. Well,
and
that's
then-
why
and then you
Scientology.
can't even
That's
blame
why
them.
Scientology is horrible for
I'm
the
really
kids.
shocked you
Yeah.
were even able to date a Scientologist.
I mean, I didn't find out until midway through the short relationship.
Wow.
But then I was very proud of her that she eventually quit. So good for her.
You have the vocal rhythm of someone who's in a cult, kind of.
You know, I've heard that before.
Did she convert you?
I have been told.
Join me.
Someone did tell me that it makes sense that I would date a cult member.
Say I try. I'm in Scientology, and it's not that bad.
You know, people thought I should have been insulted, and I wasn't. I felt like that was kind of a compliment. But yeah, R. Kelly, they're calling it hateful just because that's the clause they have.
Right.
It's more just doing bad things, really. Because I don't think Michael Jackson hated those kids either. It's quite the opposite.
Well,
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they should remove music. But
They're not removing it. They're just not
Yeah,
featuring
who gives
it.
a shit? That's fine.
They're just not. They're not promoting it.
Yet Jerry Lee Lewis is on the cover of everyone's Spotify.
Yeah, I think that's
Did
probably
he
not
marry
true.
a 13-year-old?
He
what?
married
Yeah,
his cousin.
He married his 13-year-old
Yeah,
cousin.
that
He
was
married
also
his
his cousin.
extremely
Yeah.
young
But in his
cousin.
defense, he claimed she wasn't a virgin, so
So there you go.
Nothing
Sure.
wrong.
That's fine. She
Well,
clearly had
that's
a
because he
fully formed
deflowered her
prefrontal cortex
Before
at
they
that
got
point.
married.
It's interesting. They both, R. Kelly and him, both are doing something where it's two things, and one of them is not like one of them's really terrible, and the other one's just weird.
The
but not-
cousin- the cousin
The cousin
thing.
thing's not like whatever. Two
Right, if it was-
cousins,
if it
Yeah,
was
but it's
your-
still 13, though.
if it was your adult, right? That's
The
what he's
13
saying.
is the problem.
underage
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
is the part that's offensive.
not the kinky part.
I mean, Kevin Gates was banging his cousin, and no one cared because it was just like cute. You know Kevin
Right.
Gates? Kevin Gates is a rapper who was banging this girl, and then someone said, "You guys look a lot alike," and then he found out it was his first cousin, and
Oh, he didn't know.
right, and here's the ultimate baller move: he kept fucking her.
yeah.
He
Well, at that point,
continued.
there's emotion, I guess. I'm not saying that's okay. I don't know this story.
They look so much alike.
Oh, they do. That's
That it is
odd.
gross.
Well, maybe that's just pure egotism. I
Well,
don't know.
didn't Giuliani marry his cousin?
Second cousin.
Second cousin.
Oh.
And by the way, think of your second. Do you guys have relations with your second cousins? You know what you call?
No.
I do. You know what I call her? My cousin, because it's the same goddamn thing.
I would have no idea.
And by
who
the way,
these people
my
are.
second cousins. I have three second
What's the
cousins.
second cousin again? What is that?
Second
The
cousin
child
is
of your
your.
cousin.
Yes, it is the. Right. I'm sorry. It is the. You have the same grandparents, right?
No,
Same
that's cousin.
Oh, sorry.
Cousin.
You have say great grandparents,
Oh, same
Yeah.
great grandparents.
meaning that it would be your father's first cousin's kid.
Yeah.
Or your father's first cousin.
I didn't feel bad when I jacked off to her.
Yeah. But like my cousins aren't, I'm not even blood related to them. Three of them are all like really beautiful. They were like homecoming queens and stuff. And honestly, it is literally impossible for me to see them as attractive because you're not supposed to be able to see anyone you grew up with.
But would you go down on them?
Well, it depends what I wanted out of this situation.
Yeah. Only if you could find your purpose for
I don't
it.
think it's fair that R. Kelly's kink is peeing on someone else. I feel like if you have a pee fetish, it should be for other people to pee on you.
It usually
It shouldn't
is.
be a fetish where you
At
don't.
least that's the only thing I've heard of.
It shouldn't be a fetish where you don't get affected by it. Like that seems
It
weird.
speaks poorly of him.
Yeah, like, it's like I'm really into peeing on other people. Like that's weird.
I've
I've actually
the
never
kind.
heard that until him because a golden shower is exactly that. It's where you want
Right? The whole
someone
Trump
to pee
thing is
on
someone
you.
peeing.
Yeah.
on Trump, right?
I mean, peeing on girls is the
Well,
only way he'll
Trump
get a woman
thing,
wet.
I thought that was he was watching hookers pee on each other.
Correct. He was watching hookers
that's
pee on
hot,
the bed
no matter who
because
you are.
Obama slept on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well,
He
that's,
got him.
Now, and we're going to say allegedly because I don't.
yeah.
Because this episode isn't going to air for about a week and a half. So by the time it does, it could already be proven. By the way, just the fact that this episode is on a delay, so I apologize that like if our stories are a little bit behind. But I think that because it's on a delay, we should try to spend some time talking about the stories that
Sure,
will probably have happened by the time it airs.
Right.
So what did
We
you
gotta
guys?
get our magic 8-ball.
But yeah, so what did you guys think of Giuliani's suicide?
Oh, yeah. It was really funny that Bieber's mother actually finally killed him.
Yeah.
Finally just fucking snapped. What's going on with him? Is anybody following that nonsense?
Justin
by the way?
Biebs?
Yeah.
Is he back in? Is he doing
I'm so
something?
I thought he was with
confused.
Selena again or something like
Yeah,
that.
I heard that. By the way,
Or whatever her
You
name
do,
is.
you do a great job of taking things away from politics. Back to what you're doing.
By the way,
Can we get back to what really
That last
matters?
one was really seamless.
this is important. I met Bieber once. I met
Yeah.
Bieber, and
on SNL.
no, at the roast, and at the roast, Justin Bieber.
Oh, that was
His
good.
facial hair is horrifying. He has the most disturbing beard His beard.
In what way?
You could he had like this incredibly thin, wispy beard that you couldn't really see from afar, but then up close you realize he had these like literally inch-long hairs hanging from his chin.
Like whiskers?
Yes.
Ew.
They were so weird. And if you see it, and I'm not giving anything away, like I'm not defying my NDA because you could see it on camera if you look closely. It was like, and in the light, it like glistens, and they're so thin and wispy that it was like, who is telling him this is okay? Someone is betraying him
No, there's probably
by
people
allowing
that
him.
are afraid to tell him anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what was so scary
Kim
about it.
Jong Un. Yeah, he thinks that hair looks
Yeah.
good.
Right.
People are like, it looks great.
That was a
today.
great roast, though. By the way, you got to give it to his manager, Scooter, because
Bieber?
actually, Scooter, Bieber's manager, put that roast together. And honestly, when they got Ron Burgundy as a special guest, I was like, I can never talk shit about Scooter Braun ever again. That is the best get I've ever seen.
I remember there was one.
No one knew. I didn't know. No one knew that Ron Burgundy from Anchorman was going to show up.
Yeah, I remember watching it. Pete Davidson had that great joke.
Wait. Which joke?
Yeah, we'll see if you're the one who wrote
I'm
it.
dying to see if it's the one I wrote. Yeah, if it's the one I wrote.
There's a lot
Which
of
one?
pressure. I hope
Which
I don't
one?
disappoint you.
Let's give it to me.
Oh boy.
Well, you can just see his pussy when we're done.
So excited
It's
about
the
this.
one where he said the Snoop Dogg joke where he goes, Snoop Dogg, your movie Soul Plane
Oh, that was mine. Yup.
was the worst experience.
Oh, no. The joke was he did a 9/11 joke first.
Yeah.
And then he said, and he said, now for the greatest transition in history, two people from Soul Plane are here.
Yeah.
Kevin, Snoop, Soul Plane was the worst experience of my life involving a plane.
Yeah.
That was mine. And the funny story about
I
that
never would
is-
have brought this up if I knew you were hard right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up, only because I swear to God this is true. I saw Soul Plane when it was new, and I hated it so much. I'm not exaggerating. I said, someday I'm going to find a way of fucking over this movie. I swear to God that's true.
Manifest destiny,
I
David.
hated that movie.
You really even the score.
I think I did.
That's right.
I think I did.
You
That
brought
was-
down two careers
that
in
was-
your mind.
That was probably like the most watched joke I ever wrote.
I
So.
think that's not how the secret's supposed to work.
He has a Jewish secret. It's just revenge.
But yes.
The other joke I really liked is when Hannibal
I loved everything.
Hannibal said,
Oh, so good.
Shaq and Kevin Hart look like Tyler Perry's of Mice and Men.
That was really funny, yeah. No, that was a great roast. One joke when you said Snoop Dogg, I was thinking of a joke and I realized they cut it, which I was so upset by because I really wanted to keep, which was that Snoop is 46 and now the only doggy style he gets is during his annual colonoscopy. I was so mad they cut that.
Yeah, it was a good roast. I feel like there's too many celebrities on there, not enough comedians.
I mean, that's kind of
maybe
what happens.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. Originally, I think they were even going to have more rappers, and they decided to have more comics.
I just hate I just like when I know the person wrote the jokes, or at least is like a comedian. You know what I mean? I'm not as crazy when like Martha Stewart comes up and shit.
Right, and Martha was great, but it's also like, this is just a performance piece. Yeah. Where like Martha Stewart was just graciously willing to be unbelievably racist.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm obviously you need like giant celebrities. I just wish the percentage was a little more like 60-40.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's at the new one, the Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is next?
Oh yeah, in July. It's going to be the Bruce Willis roast. We're
going to be fucking Ann
Coulter excited
again.
To see what the dais is. I'm sure she got asked to do
Pete
it again.
Davidson doing it?
No one's official yet.
Okay.
So we're waiting to see. If Pete's in it, then I'll definitely be involved. And maybe if he's not, who knows? We're waiting to see who's going to be working on it.
Fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
He's like a Trump supporter, right?
My understanding is that I heard he's a Republican, but has not come out as a Trump supporter. I don't know for sure.
There's a big difference.
His wife is really hot.
Who's his wife?
Some really hot chick.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's having a Republican and the roast is interesting. Yeah. Because I mean, Bruce is weird because like he's one of these guys you'll be watching Netflix and you'll be like, wait, what are these 300 movies that Bruce Willis is in that I've never heard of?
He's kind of like Kevin Bacon.
Did you Bernie Madoff yourself? Like, did he lose everything?
Cage. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage did lose everything to Bernie Madoff, and that's why he had to do all those movies. Yeah. Bruce might just be greedy. Just might be
probably
a guy who just wants to bang out a movie every month.
Let me ask you all a question. We're talking a little about the Me Too movement a little, right?
Yeah. Sure. We brought up Hannibal.
Yeah. Do you think, what's the deal with Woody Allen? Because like...
Oh, I love this topic.
I get that, like, it's so complicated with him because there's two different things. Whenever people say I hate Woody Allen, I'm never sure which one they're talking about. Because there's a thing where he married his daughter.
Right.
He married his girlfriend's adopted daughter.
His girlfriend's adopted
They never
daughter.
lived in the same house, and he was never her father in any legal way.
And he married her, and that's one thing.
And it's still gross. I'm just saying
Which I think is creepy more so than, like, they're still married. I think it's creepy more so than, like, there's some things where it's like, it's creepy, but I feel like the people have to do a moral transgression for you to like judge it, I feel like it's more weird as fuck, right?
Well, she was 17, 18 when they got together. It's bad. It's very bad.
Well, didn't Morgan Freeman like have an affair with his granddaughter?
It's been accused, yes, but she was also an adult at the time.
But so then the other thing is
not his granddaughter, his girlfriend's granddaughter. Same thing. We fudged the numbers, but yeah, both of those were the long-term girlfriend's relative, not their own. But yes, there have been a lot of accusations. She was murdered last year.
Yeah,
which is no one's accusing Morgan Freeman of doing it. Which just adds a weird wrinkle to it.
Wow.
But then Woody Allen, Mia Farrow claims that Woody Allen
molested the 7-year-old daughter.
Right. And she claims it too.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Now
so does Ronan.
Right now.
Ronan believes them. Yes.
Yeah.
I see both things as possible. Is that wrong?
Of course it's possible.
Yeah.
Of course
it's possible. Is it wrong that, like, Mia Farrow is also really angry at him because he is married to, like, or not even to lie about it, but to just, like, believe it in herself.
Well, also, don't forget, a judge threw it out and said the story did not seem consistent. Now, if you had to ask me gun to my head, if I had to make a guess, I would say he did it.
Yeah.
But when you only have one accuser, and it did go to court, and the court found that it was not a credible accusation, it doesn't make you a monster to say, I don't know if this is true or not.
I think that's the realistic reaction.
And because I think people want you to condemn him when it's like, and like I said, he probably did it.
He probably did it, right.
But when you have one accuser, you have the right to say, we don't know for sure. When you have two accusers, it's very hard to believe the person's innocent.
That's my rule.
When you have three accusers, he better be we said this last week. He better be the recipient of one of the worst conspiracies ever.
Yeah.
Fourth accuser, you're fucking guilty.
Yeah, that's my rule. I feel like it has not to say one accuser doesn't mean you're guilty.
You're probably
guilty.
But
I feel like you need more than one for everyone to be like, oh, he's definitely guilty.
Yes.
That's a good rule,
to expect
isn't it?
a general bystander, to expect everyone in the world to agree a person's guilty, it should be, for that one accusation that is just he said, she said, is not reasonable to expect everyone to say 100% he's definitely guilty, there's no question.
Right. Basically, what I'm saying is,
yeah, that's fair.
You should have believe all women is true, but just one woman against one man is kind of like you're kind of still put in an I don't know position. Even though you want to lean, case, then. You'd like to lean towards the woman in these situations. You still don't know for sure, right?
Well, according to I forget what it is, but I think RAIN even had I think RAIN I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's the National Rape Organization to no, they're not anti-rape.
National
Organization of Raping Women.
I was trying to make the acronym work in my head. I'm like, that's not playing out in my head as I wanted
it's
to.
Rapey as fuck.
Yeah, I think they said it's something like 1 in 20 accusations are false. Right. That sounds about right. 95% are true. That sounds reasonable to me. That sounds about right. So yeah,
but that means when one woman accuses one guy, you can't just say he's immediately guilty.
It means he's
well, you should never
guilty.
just say anyone is guilty.
Right.
We have processes for that, and sometimes they fail.
Or in the public, domain, not like in the public domain. Because it was Woody Allen. They kind of put him in the Me Too thing, and I'm like, well, his thing is a very weird, complicated, individual thing that's really. Just weird,
but it's also a matter of your stature. There's another person who has been a working director for all of this time, and people don't want to not believe him because they don't want to not work for him. They don't want to not be just in general.
Oh yeah.
Nobody ever was like, "That's it, boycott Woody Allen. Don't do his movies. Don't."
I think he's.
In terms of the Hollywood community didn't do that. They didn't rally behind Mia Farrow.
I think his movies have sucked for 15 years. Honestly, I think his movies are so bad now. Him most likely fucking his kid is not even the number one reason he should stop making movies. It's the last 10 years. But I still think
2000 was the last time he had a really good movie.
Sweet and Lowdown?
Oh my God, it was so good.
That's how I feel. I feel like that's his last best movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that movie.
You guys didn't like that Owen Wilson picture?
Oh God.
I can't fucking remember the name.
Sweet and Lowdown was
that was all just really... ha ha ha, I know who T.S. Eliot is. Ha ha ha, I know this writer.
I didn't see it. I just remember everybody loved it at the time.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that a monster can create great media.
Sure, of course.
A lot of the greatest things in history were created by horrible people who
not mutually exclusive
could not be bothered to deal with morality.
But at the same time, there should be repercussions.
Sure.
And that's the point.
Right. Yeah. But then, when you take R. Kelly, for instance, and they're not featuring his work anymore, Netflix is not featuring Woody Allen. Then it becomes
are they?
Why?
Well, I don't know.
But they're not going out of their way.
They're not going out of their way not to feature him or kind of make it a point that because of these allegations, we're not going to put him as the forefront of our platform.
And I don't expect him at the Kennedy Center Awards anytime soon. But he has been there before.
Not to be cynical, but and I'm not saying Spotify did it for this, but them making that decision, doesn't that kind of give them free ads by just basically everyone talking about Spotify now? It's kind of a clever move. It's like, we won't feature R. Kelly. All the articles will be about Spotify not doing that, and then Spotify gets free ads by being into the current event.
Right. I think the problem that, kind of to your point, yes, you want to believe all women, but my problem is kind of more we need more, I guess, a uniform approach of how you deal with the people that are being accused. Because if they haven't actually been convicted of a crime yet, they're not going through the legal system. But then when it comes to consuming their content or these platforms, how they react to them, I think there needs to be more of a uniform way of doing that. Because let's say, they're not going to feature R. Kelly, but all of Harvey Weinstein movies will still be featured somewhere. There's no uniformity of how people are reacting
Harvey
to
Weinstein,
it.
It's tough because he's the producer. He's not even the director.
He's one part.
He's
one
a piece
small
of a massive.
You'd be like,
a lot of other
he's
people.
a cog in a giant wheel.
Whereas R. Kelly, it's this is R. Kelly's voice, R. Kelly's music.
Yeah.
And it's also not people can't watch you can't listen. It's not like you can't listen to his music.
Did they pull CK stuff from Netflix?
And House of Cards.
They barely.
They're certainly not. No. They're certainly not featuring them, which is the same process.
They don't feature. It's on there, but they don't feature it. Yeah. And HBO took it off.
You should not be no longer able to see House of Cards.
No. That isn't.
But I'm saying
it's
the same situation. I don't think Netflix is featuring, just like Spotify is not featuring anyone.
But Netflix didn't announce that. Well, due to this situation, we're not going to feature CK.
Yeah, but they also clearly didn't. They clearly buried it. And
Kevin Spacey, by the way,
they're not suggesting Louis anymore.
Kevin Spacey, worst apology of all time. He gets accused of rape and he goes, "I don't remember." Which is basically saying, I've raped so many people, I can't.
Well, I
can't
think
keep
that
it
the
straight.
accusations against Kevin Spacey were extremely homophobic because he was gay. And as he said when he was accused of raping Anthony Rabb, he's a gay man.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, what's up?
I just got a brand new set of headphones. I'm super stoked.
Oh, yeah? Who makes them?
Studio.
Oh, like Phil Collins?
Yeah, like the song Susu Studio.
Wow, he makes great headphones, huh?
Well, the company makes great headphones. I got the Regent, which is their premium on-air model. It's got impeccable clarity and a really balanced sound. And it's Bluetooth, but it also comes with an auxiliary cord, so if I feel like having a cord, I can. You know what else is awesome about these headphones? They have 24 hours of active battery life and 20 days of standby life, so they're great for home or on the go.
So, like, you don't have to plug them in?
Right. Like, you can actually use them for, like, 24 hours.
So, how can we get them?
So, you can actually go to studio.com/US, and they've got free worldwide shipping. But they're so awesome that they're giving our listeners a discount code, Blamestorming, which will get you 15% off of these awesome headphones.
Well, these look like really cool headphones, and if I don't lose these, this was a very good investment.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to lose them. I mean, they're so functional and stylish, and they're made in Sweden, Dave.
Oh, they're Swedes.
Yes, they're Swedes.
I did not know
Scandinavian
I
design.
had no idea Phil Collins was Swedish.
Well, if he were Swedish, he would definitely be as awesome as a pair of studio headphones.
So,
All those apologies were such insights into like the sociopathology of people.
But that's, I mean, what do you think makes him so good at what he does?
he's a very good
Yeah.
actor.
Did you see?
He's a blank slate.
Did you see his? I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I was just saying. Someone brought up his when he won his Academy Award for American Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
They went back, and his speech is like, in hindsight, it's like, I just want to say, people do horrible things, and this character in this movie is kind of a monster, and I just want people to forgive monsters. Like, it's like a whole thing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Good for him.
What was the chef that was like, it was a
Vitale.
yeah, and then like in his apology he gave a recipe.
Yeah, and it didn't even turn out well. When I
Like
made it.
Yeah, you went ahead and that was your first mode of figuring out if you were going to forgive him or not. Well, if this quiche is any good, I'm going to
then
let
it's
it
like,
slide.
he's a good guy. He had a bad night.
It's like if Paula Deen said, I'm going to apologize for my use of the N-word with this ribs recipe.
Right.
We're all square, right,
complicated
guys?
recipe.
But it's so
It
informed
was
by
so
you.
moist and delicious. I forgot about her racism.
Right.
haven't had-
But that's so true. Like, and then there were all the people that said, okay, but Paula Deen's a little old lady, and she was raised in a time where that was acceptable or whatever. So there's so many things.
To say
that-
the N-word? She's not that old.
I'm not at all agreeing with it, but that was one of
her
the pieces
defense-
that came into the play.
I think what she said was that in her defense, she only did it while buying Brazil nuts. She just didn't know that that's not the correct term.
There you go.
The N-word. What are they called? I mean, not...
They call them N-word toes in certain rural areas still.
Oh, man.
I only found that out recently, and that that was beyond shocking to find out that there are places right now that they are still calling Brazil
There's so
nuts.
much racism associated with food.
Sugar babies too.
Yeah, there's so
Sugar
much
babies have
racism
a-
associated with lots of things that we overlook.
Sugar baby.
Take a wild guess what the word sugar originally was in sugar babies. Yeah.
What's a sugar baby?
It's those
Little caramel candies.
little caramel candies covered in chocolate, and apparently they have a horrifying
How
origin.
racist you got to be to look at a candy and figure out a way to use the N-word?
It's like, what this candy's missing?
Really?
Racism.
You got to slip the N-word in candy.
It's called marketing. It's on the tip of your tongue, isn't it?
Oh my God.
They were gonna buy the Snickers, but now
There's like foreign candies that are really racist. I remember I took a photo of one, and so I put it on my Instagram. But like,
Actually, yeah,
Well, have you ever
I was going to
seen-
say in the news right now is that restaurant Yellow Fever. Did you guys hear about that?
no.
It's a chain of I'm going to assume it's Asian food. I now don't remember, but it's in like a Whole Foods or something somewhere, and it's an individual storefront, and it's called Yellow Fever.
yeah,
Is it made by Trader Mao? Is it one of those Trader Joe's?
No, but
it's not Asian people running
and
it.
people love the food, and they're like, yeah, like,
Sure,
it's
they have
just,
yellow fever.
Right?
Yellow Fever. There's a Bloodhound Gang song called Yellow Fever that had to be removed from their album. Did you know that?
No.
And it is literally just a bunch of rhyming Asian jokes. Just every horrible Asian stereotype.
Aside from racism, though, do you want to eat at a place called Yellow Fever?
Okay, you
which is
don't
an
want the word
actual
fever,
illness?
yeah.
Do you
That was
know-
an actual illness before it was associated with liking.
It's bad
Asians.
marketing on many levels.
So many
Okay,
levels.
this is terrific. So we're looking at a candy
It's
called...
Italian.
Of course it's Italian. Called nougatine, which I'm assuming is just the word nougat.
Yeah.
And it's, as you see, it is a... It looks like Aunt Jemima, basically.
Nice.
It looks like a way more racist version of Aunt Jemima.
It does.
By the way, did you ever see the movie Confederate States of America? It's a
No.
movie about a world where we lost the Civil War, which is also... There's an HBO show being made about the same kind of subject, but it's an older movie. And at the end of the movie, they tell you all the parts of the movie that weren't faked. Because they have this in the movie, it's like, it's us now, and we're just living in this horribly racist world, like planes.
It's like a
TVs.
mockumentary, right?
Yeah, it's a mockumentary, and it's great. And then at the end of the movie, they say, oh, by the way, when we show people using N-word hair chewing tobacco, that's a real product that existed until the friggin' 70s. And that if you go to like Thailand right now, there are still remnants of these like minstrel show like toothpastes.
But there's also that movie. There was a movie starring John Travolta and Harry Belafonte.
White Man's Burden.
White Man's Burden.
Yeah.
And the plot
I saw
was
that.
just.
It was so bad.
Blazing Saddles even.
But
Like, what?
the plot of this was, what if black people were doing really well and white people were poor? Was that it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just exactly
It seemed
reversed.
kind of a little racist just to be like, what if we switched it? I don't know.
Yeah, they switch it, and like all the white people are getting called spooks because they look like ghosts at night because they're so white, which is hilarious.
well, at least-
my favorite part of that though is the fact that all the white kids had to play with Sun Man. That was their doll because of the way that like black kids always had all their toys were. The theme was that they were black.
Right.
They're all like, Black Panther. Every black superhero had the word black in their name.
Watching that movie just made me feel like it just puts racist thoughts in your head, and then you feel racist just watching it. You're like, what is this? What is the point of this movie?
It's just a movie to teach racist white people that racism is real and what it would look like and how you would feel if it was reversed. Because so many people don't even acknowledge what's happening. Like so many people don't even realize that they consider whites default
Right.
and everyone else is white plus something.
So is it a good movie?
It's okay.
After all that.
It's not. Oh no, it's not a great movie. It's just
That's like, that documentary where they tried to teach kids what the Holocaust was, so they gathered 6 million paper clips, and they're like, imagine all these paper clips together. It's like, you could just imagine real people being killed instead of like somehow having the paper clips made them realize.
you could
it.
just say just the population of Illinois.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
So, did you see today that Congress released thousands of Facebook ads?
Well, I was about to jump in with with Roseanne's theory about the thousands of children sex like slaves.
Oh no, that
tell us
just
about
happens
that.
in
I feel
in
like I've
Roseanne's
never read a
head.
newspaper all of a sudden.
Roseanne has told people that all the Democrats in Congress have sex with child slaves, including Obama.
It's what it was like part
The
of that thing that
Pizzagate.
made the pizza guy shoot up.
Yeah.
there,
Yeah, it was the Pizzagate thing.
Just things that crazy people make up to just manipulate the simple.
But so Congress released like thousands of Facebook ads that were like fake ads that Russia had paid for, and one like I was kind of scrolling through some of them, and it was surprising how many that I had actually seen on Facebook. But the one that shocked me the most was really there was an anti-Trump rally in Union Square Park. And that was actually orchestrated by Russians, that they actually put together an event that people went to that I knew had gone to that event, which I think is just really like scary to see.
Wait, they
like,
put
how
together an
close-
anti-Trump rally?
Yeah, they put
had
together an anti-Trump.
a minority.
These
of-
Russians are they're like the Joker. They're just all over the place.
Right.
Well, the majority of the stuff they did was intended to make Trump look good, but a minority of it was also just intended to increase hatred with both sides.
Right.
Their main thing was they wanted everyone to hate each other, wanted everyone to fight. So while they were pushing these anti-Trump things, the one thing they were never pushing was moderation. So it was always about trying to take advantage of the most hysterical people on every side just to build up hatred and fear, because that's what would help Trump.
Well, it
overall.
didn't work at all. We're not divided as a country whatsoever.
I mean, that was Trump and Russia's entire plan, was to just make people hysterical, because a person like Trump only makes sense when you're in a state of fear.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just like watching Dave like emphatically make every point. Keep going.
No, that's it. No, I mean, that's what it was about. It was about saying that Trump is someone you would listen to only when you're in a full-scale panic.
Right.
I agree.
I do think like whether you're liberal or right wing, every article now, the headline is designed to make you feel outraged.
Yeah.
And that's not good journalism. Even from
No,
the liberal
Everything
side,
is clickbait.
every headline is like, from the liberal side.
How terrible is this?
Trump
it's all
punches
terrible.
a
We
koala
got it.
bear in the pussy or
Yeah.
whatever, and no one
He only
cares.
grabs pussies.
But it's just like, I don't feel like a headline, if you're reading an article and the headline makes you angry immediately, that's not good journalism. I just don't think it is.
It's not good for anybody's psyche. I mean, he's just a terrible person, and we get it. So it's like, move on from that to some extent. Like, yes, everyone needs to be informed when really bad stuff is happening. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like every day we're just meant to be in this like
State of
horrific
anger, yeah.
mental.
To be fair,
yeah.
he's doing something every day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Republicans are taking advantage of the fatigue, and I think on some level, they're just saying, that's the whole point. They're saying if you tell 5 lies, people will hound you with those 5 lies for the rest of your life. If you are like Trump and tell 4,000 lies, everyone just says, oh, really? One person could tell 4,000 lies? Like, yeah,
Hitler.
he did.
Hitler said the bigger the lie, the more you believe it. Is that what he said?
Something like that, yeah. Well, he said a lot of things that Trump may or may not have read, according to one of the biographies that said he
Apparently
read.
the only book
speeches.
he's ever read is Mein Kampf, right?
Well, there was an accusation that the only book people have seen him read was a book of Hitler's speeches, not Mein Kampf. But yeah, that was one of the
Mein Kampf is
accusations.
actually kind of dry. I tried to read it. It's kind of boring. I thought it'd be like Jew hating immediately. But
You got to
the
hear him
economy,
say. You got to get the book on tape.
You got to hear the rhythm.
You got to get it in his
You got to
voice.
read it in
You
the
gotta-
original German.
You know what? You should read it in your ET voice, and it's going to resonate with you a lot more.
I hate the Jews.
Have a good day, Dad.
We need to
But, like,
get
how-
the Jews out of Germany. All right, sorry.
Sir. But like, how much do you think that like all these ads actually affected people?
A ton. People live on Facebook. We are fucking pathetic.
It really, when they were saying
so fucking much.
there was one stat that said something like half the population of the U.S. had been reached by these ads.
Yeah, it was over 100 million.
But these are mainly right-wing ads?
No,
They're
they
both.
were.
They were
They
a
were.
combination
They were.
of both.
Yes, they were more right wing than others.
Yeah.
But they were just trying. It was a lot of like. There was Black Lives Matter stuff they were pushing. There was Bernie stuff. But the one thing that seemed to be the correlation was it was all about getting people upset. It was all about trying to take on the more fringe, hysterical side of any argument just to get people to hate each other. So they're organizing these rallies and then organizing counter rallies, trying to get people mad. Like that anti-Trump rally in Manhattan was for the purpose of other people who like Trump that aren't in Manhattan saying, oh my God, look what they're doing. We need to fight this.
Right.
The whole point is just trying to rile people up.
So are we all just like when Scarecrow shoots the gas out in Batman and everyone, the Batman Begins?
Yeah.
You know where the gas comes?
Yeah.
Are we all actually just good people hating each other? Like, are all the Trump supporters actually good people?
No.
But is that you being affected right now?
Right.
No,
That's
no.
what I was saying about the emphasis.
Well, no, because I didn't share any fake articles.
You couldn't see it back home, viewers.
But aren't you now by being like that, aren't you part of this like divide they're created by hating the other person?
Only if you believe off the bat that it's impossible that someone could actually deserve hatred. The point is, I wasn't being manipulated by fake articles. I didn't share any. I didn't believe the fake articles about Trump either because I actually look things up and I don't share things from like WorldNet News.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people are not on that level, and people who have to work in media usually try a little bit harder.
I
They
don't
can tell the
share. I don't
difference.
share it either. It's not since I posted that James Earl Jones died because I thought it was a real article.
Yeah, see, you got taken.
But I
no,
think
but
it's
those
also the paradox of tolerance. So like I think for me, my problem with Trump people is that it sounds odd, but like in order to live in a tolerant society, everyone has to be tolerant of everything except for intolerance. Because if you are tolerant of intolerance, then that intolerant kind of cell of people will then start kind of breeding more intolerance.
And they're demanding it. The
Right.
alt-right and the neo-Nazis are demanding tolerance for their intolerance. I mean, these
Right.
are the same people who are going and saying, these are people who, they are the most toxic, childish arguers you've ever seen in media, ever. It's amazing that they have the gall to act like such children when they argue, but then will say, Castle Wolfenstein is really irresponsible for having us just shoot Nazis just because they disagree with us. They're suddenly saying you shouldn't have video games where Nazis get shot.
Right.
And by the way, you're so offended by a video game that shoots Nazis, maybe don't buy one with the word Stein in it.
Right.
Yeah,
you do shoot the dog in it, which is pretty brutal. Like they shoot the German Shepherd.
That's not cool.
But it's like their whole thing is just
you have to tolerate our hatred.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just taglines and little talking points. And then it's, if you disagree, then it's like, oh, well, you have identity politics. But then it's not really, aren't they having identity politics? They identify as white nationalists.
They're huge hypocrites.
So it's,
These are people, and I've seen this many times, Trump supporters, people who think that Trump has done nothing wrong, who will then say liberals are so toxic and such bullies, and they're always using name calling when they make fun of Trump. And it's like, you voted for the biggest childish bully who has ever been in ever been in mass media in America.
But this is why one of the worst things about Trump is that we're all now in agreement, but it sounds like that's what Trump does. It makes liberals angrily agree with each other. You know what I mean? It just creates this dialogue.
I don't know why we can't just have a do no harm policy for everybody. That's what you have to abide by.
Well, because the reason is because half this country, a little less than half, they have a deep hatred for us, for anyone who believes in that kind of just general progressive. So
what is the Facebook ads? Are they a problem? It sounds like
not
which
even
one
humanitarianism.
Is it?
Just don't fuck with other people.
But is it?
Just don't fuck with other people. Do your thing.
The thing I don't get about the Facebook ads though is that, and I'm really don't get. I don't have an opinion about it. It's like, how much of it is that just Americans are awful, and how much of it is them being manipulated by Facebook ads?
It's both. Russia saw an opportunity.
What's the pie graph?
Well, Russia did this because they saw an opportunity in the weird emotional state that America has been growing to.
So they exacerbated something that was there.
We became reality show characters.
Right.
We became these unnecessarily emotional, irrational people who believe that all attention, even negative, is better than no attention. And once that happened, the floodgates opened and we became this horrible, toxic culture that celebrates just childish bullying.
Well, I think it was also had a lot to do with the fact that we had 8 years of Obama. So you had like a group of people that just seething for 8 years saying like, oh, well, we're losing our upper hand in society because Obama was president. And so the Russians basically took advantage of the fact that you had a populace that believed, oh, we're now becoming aspirationally the Americans that we think we are. And then you had a populace in the country that are saying that, oh, well, you know, we're being left behind because the country is propelling forward so much that we're being left in the dust and building animosity and resentment. So the Russians just came in and were just kind of saw like it was like the perfect time to plant the seeds.
They're pretty smart, honestly. I mean, it's pretty badass if you think about what the Russians did. That's some like Joker, Batman. We're going to causing chaos in a country internally, having them fight each other.
Right.
I mean, Russia has an economy the size of Italy. Yet they were able to do this to America because they saw that we were at an advantage in every conceivable way. We're a bigger country, more people, more money, more commerce, everything they had. The only thing that they had on us, the only advantage they have against us is their emotional deadness. And
they're a scary people.
They saw our emotional problem. They saw that America was becoming hysterical, and they said, well, let's exploit that because that's the only
Well, that's some awesome Iago shit. It seems like they have to understand America first before they did that. It seems like they understood us.
Well, yes, they do.
Well, it's kind of like Osama bin Laden. He figured out the way to beat the beast is to have the beast fight like not
well, like he also thought 9/11 was going to be all he needed to do. He thought we were going to all just collapse.
Right. They really had nothing else after that.
No, it was like that. It was like that cartoon where the guy drinks a bunch of gasoline and then swallows a match. You can only do it once.
Yeah, some loser with a shoe, and then one guy tried to build the bomb on the plane. It's like that's like a bad.
Well, fortunately,
it's like a kid procrastinating.
We found out the smart ones don't want to die for this.
Yeah.
But see, to that effect, that was remember how like united we were just as a people after 9/11? 9/11. Like, it wasn't Democrats, Republicans. It was like, we're Americans, and this is the opposite of that. Now this is like everybody taking sides against
it is
everybody.
the opposite. Yeah.
So that's effective because
you know why? Because we don't know the villain. If the villain's Russia, we didn't have.
That's exactly right.
And the fact is, right now, liberals and conservatives.
We had one person to rally around that was not a part of us, and now we're so tearing
I
each
agree
other
with you.
apart.
Bring back 9/11. Bring back George Bush. I agree with you completely.
But we're not
I think we'd all be okay with bringing back George Bush at this
we do have a common enemy,
point.
but we're still so divided that we can't even focus on the fact that we have a common enemy.
Right.
It's like you still have like almost 50% of the population not believing that we were attacked by Russia. That we are in a technological hot war with Russia, but it's like, oh no, this is fake news because Donald Trump said he didn't collude. But it's like
these people still believe that Hillary had a stroke. They are unwilling to accept that they were duped by someone that everyone around them was screaming, he's a con man, what's wrong with you?
Well, the way she smiles looks like she's having a stroke right then. I mean, that's fair. She looks like
look, Hillary Clinton was the recipient of the world's most long-term character assassination job since she was the first lady of Arkansas.
Yeah.
They saw that bill was too charismatic to go against, so they made it about her. And here's the thing. In 20 years, are there still going to be people whose entire income is about making anti-Obama shirts? Because that's what happened with Hillary. Long after she was out of office, there were still people whose job it was to just make things to feed the hatred of this woman.
Yeah, people really hated her.
It was a cottage industry.
Yeah.
It became just a thing where I know some people who believe she's a mass murderer because they're fucking children.
Yeah, but think about it. It's no longer in fashion. You can't be like, oh, the black president. But it's still fine to be like, but a woman's not ready to be president. It's not fine, but that was the new thing that they could do within the confines of, oh, okay, so you're not ready for a female? That's okay, because that's not racist.
Right.
It's a thing that they could still get away with publicly. You can't come out and say bad shit about black people now. I mean, you can, but you're going to draw
They're trying to get back there,
I'm saying, but if you come out and you're
Slowly
just
but surely.
anti-female, you're not going to get we're still there. We're still there with misogyny. We're still there with people with the glass ceiling and all that. We're getting better, but even women hate other women. I remember talking to relatives that were like, well, Hillary, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not even a Hillary fan, but did you hear anything that Donald Trump said?
Right.
You can't vote for that guy.
These are the same people who said, well, Hillary doesn't say what she's going to do. Yes, she did. She just didn't say it while calling someone a fat whore, so you didn't listen.
Hillary looked like a saint during the fucking debates. I mean, Trump makes other people look really good.
For sure.
He makes people you think are really flawed suddenly become heroic and just they become heroic because he's such pure badness that everyone becomes heroic fighting
her
him.
entire platform, the people hated it by not wanting to drastically change the country. But people like me were like, I don't think Obama's doing such a bad job that we need catastrophic change.
Right.
All she wanted to do was continue Obama's policies and then make us a little bit more liberal.
Well, at the end of the day, people are just unhappy and they want change because they don't realize.
But that's a
they're
massive
fucking children.
Again,
well, they don't realize
a massive change to ask of a male top man.
They
this
don't
is
realize,
not me hating on dudes. I'm not that girl at all. But that's a massive change to put a female, a very strong, aggressive female in office. She wasn't like, oh, I would like to be president. She is an aggressive, assertive, and there were a lot of men that were terrified at that possibility. Regardless of her policies. Wouldn't have mattered if she was I am all for NRA, I'm all for. They still would have been like, but it's a lady.
Oh no, they would have let Sarah. They'd let
Yeah.
Sarah Palin be president because most of those guys see a woman. They're like, oh, I'll have a woman president, but she has to be a woman who knows her place.
I agree.
Like Sarah
and
Palin.
That's the point.
Just like they'd be okay with a black
There were so
president.
many things wrong with choosing her as the first female candidate. And again, it's not about hating any particular piece. From a psychological standpoint, that is a massive shift to ask of people.
We learned a lot about Republicans when their big criticism of Obama was that, and I heard a lot of them say this, they said, well, Obama had a responsibility to tell black people to stop thinking that there's racism. And that was a shocking.
What?
I heard so many Republicans say that Obama betrayed us because he inflamed racism. They said he was supposed to make people realize that there was no more racism. And that's where you really learn a lot about these people. That they saw Obama as, listen, if we're going to let you be president, you owe me something in return, which is to shut up everyone who says I'm a racist.
Barack Obama being president, kind of like the racist guy. I can't be racist. I have a black friend. They're like, I can't be racist. America can't be racist. We have a black president.
Exactly.
It was the ultimate black friend thing. Even though when Obama's president, it was horrible. I mean, horrible racial violence and horrible stuff.
Well, I mean, half the country was looking at Obama and saying, well, apparently now my kid knows I've been lying about what every black man's like.
That's what Doug Stanhope said. He said, Obama being president is just trivia. It doesn't have... and then he pointed to black guys. Security guard's still going to be following you around in the mall. It doesn't change that.
Right. It didn't change that, but why didn't it change that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because people tried that hard to say
I didn't say it. Doug Stanhope did.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get the joke. I'm just saying,
I might have not phrased it right.
It's not like we haven't made strides. It's just that, but it's the same with women.
We definitely have not made strides.
Because I got shit for saying, like, I voted for Hillary, but I didn't vote for her because I was like, yay, Hillary! I voted for her because Trump was terrifying. And I had a lot of female friends that were like, well, we don't need your vote anyway. And I'm like, apparently you did. And here's why. She wasn't a likable female on many levels.
And I get not liking her, but what I don't get, which really, you have to be so sexist to have her
let me
fighting
make that
Trump.
Point. That's women against women. Why must I automatically support? You know what I mean? Like, that's where we're at with
But here's the thing, though. Her unlikability, here's the problem. That just happens to be something that we've all agreed on about every single Democratic woman. Every Democratic woman is called an unlikable, shrill woman.
I didn't call her shrill.
Well, not you, but they say the same thing about every woman in the Democratic Party.
I think she was extremely competent, and there was a lot of awesome, like, in terms of being in charge of things in general, but there was a lot of just unlikable things about her character. Again, I voted for her, but do I think there were other candidates that would have been a better choice? For sure. And the bottom line is just, I think that, again, like, we're still fighting that war amongst ourselves. Like, we're still trying to get past. I mean, I have jokes about that, about how we're just now, like, women are now expected to support other women. That wasn't true for a very long time, and in a lot of cases, it's still not the thing. Like, you're still going to get shit on as a female if the popular sentiment is it should be, well, we should all want the first woman president. We do, but must it be that woman as the first? Like, I should still be able to have an opinion about that.
Yeah, of course. At the same time, what I found amazing
was... That's not progress. That's forcing me to do something.
Right, but, like, I wouldn't have voted for Palin, because I think she was horrible.
Yeah,
but I
she
think
was horrible.
That, and I think that part
but
of that...
Condi Rice, I had some hope about that for a minute. Like, I just strong female. No, I'm not saying she, but I'm saying, like, in terms of, like, making strides, right? You don't want it to just be a woman president. You don't want it to just be a black president. You want it to be the right candidate is the point of that whole speech.
And I think that part of Hillary's problem was because she was so competent, and I think that is just the whole misogyny of this society is just kind of like, it took Dave's point about being in their place, but she literally was the most qualified candidate that we've ever had run. Like, we could not have had a more qualified president as far as knowing domestic policy, foreign policy, even just the inner workings of the bureaucracy of being in the White House. She had already lived there. She
was
already
like Lyndon Johnson. Yeah.
So it's just like she was literally the most qualified. But why didn't people like her? Because she's a woman and she needs to be likable. Men don't need to be likable. They need to be competent.
I'll agree with that.
So if Hillary had a dick, she'd be a president already.
We're still fighting that as females. We still have another layer that we got to get past besides competence.
I saw on Facebook a video made by a basically white power alt-right site, a site that also had things where they were calling the Obamas monkeys. And this site created a video that took Hillary Clinton saying the words, "I don't want you to vote for me just because I'm a woman," and took out the words, "I don't want you to," and just had the words, "Vote for me because I'm a woman." And I saw fucking liberals. I saw fucking liberals posting that video. And people that I, to this day, don't have the same amount of respect for. People that I no longer really consider the kinds of friends I did before because I was so disgusted with them.
Well, I remember when the day Trump won, Amy Schumer posted like a long thing that Trump said about how he thought Republicans were the dumbest, and he would
right, that was a fake
and that was fake too, and she was having, I mean,
thank God she's not a journalist. Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, she was a big, I'm not blaming her, but I'm just using an example. And she was like, had this very sad post about how people didn't vote for Hillary, and it's ridiculous and all the sexism, but she was also sharing a quote by Trump that was not true. So there's definitely fault on both sides. Like, there is, like, a lot of not as much on the liberal side, but there's just a lot of like lies going around.
No, there was a big problem.
There's not a lot of due diligence with
no due diligence.
Yeah.
And the thing that disgusts me is how many people say, well, it's impossible to tell. No, it's not! Fucking look it up! Google the fucking phrase you just put up. That's all you have to do.
Oh, boy.
I think you should play the intro song again real quick.
On that note, maybe we should take a break. Let's take a break. Dave needs some water.
You want listeners or don't you? Why do you think Feldme asked me to yell every single episode?
You can yell next episode, but
I will.
All right,
It's about to start.
We're okay, you guys. We're gonna take a break, and we will be right
Shut
back.
up, Marissa.
Where's Nigel?